Every day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling, every day.
Who's one guy right now that you're investing in that you're like, you know what, like I feel safe with this guy. This is a guy that, I would feel comfortable putting my hard-earned money into.
I definitely feel safe with three guys, I would say. Feel safe with Luka, of course,
Mhm.
Zion. And I'm still picking up some Trae Young here and there. I just got another Select 9 coming in today. For what his price point is for his 9, I paid $100 for a Select 9. I feel at that price, it can't get any lower, in my opinion. With the Select, even it being a base, there's not a lot printed. Once the playoffs come around and the Hawks kind of figure it out and have a couple guys come back from injury, I think they'll be a lot better shape moving forward. So I'm kind of like almost setting myself up for success for guys that, are going to be in the playoffs, who have a chance of maybe making a run to the finals or getting close, because that's when you get those record-breaking prices or those high prices again, and people buy out hype versus, okay, well, this sold at 250, I'm going to buy at 250. No, you got people outside of maybe the market that maybe never have been, who are like, wow, Trae had an amazing game, I'm going to go buy his rookie card. And they're paying, higher prices and stuff for cards that maybe they wouldn't normally. What about you? What guys are you picking up that you feel really safe with?
Right now, I've been kind of going with guys that aren't like at the top of the market, but I feel like could be. You know what I mean? Like, for example, like I'm looking at the guys who are in like the positions like LeBron is right now, and like who I feel like has a chance to like be like the next KD or whatever. So like one guy I've been picking up is Brandon Ingram, just trying to get some of his, like I just picked up a select, it was a die cut auto of his, and like I've just been trying to pick up guys like that. Jason Tatum's another one I've been picking up. Guys that I feel like have the opportunity to eventually be, a top 5 player in the league and move into that role. So those are two of the guys I've been picking up lately. I have my eye on a couple other guys. Like I've been looking into a little bit more Donovan Mitchell. I don't have quite enough of his stuff yet, and I definitely want to pick up just a little bit more. Just seeing how good the Jazz are doing and just how like undervalued his stuff is still. There's a few of those guys I've been kind of looking into, the guys that have the opportunity to kind of go to superstardom that are kind of not quite there yet. It's not quite prospecting, but it's kind of, I want them right before they get to the point where they're there type thing. You know what I mean?
I agree. And I agree with your picks too. I definitely have some cards of Ingram. I don't have as much Mitchell. I think I sold his Prism base, trying to get rid of some of the different base that I have, especially the Prism stuff, because the print runs are too high. But I'm trying to get more short prints of those different guys. Tatum, definitely. Him and Jaylen Brown, I feel like will do well in the playoffs this year, but I think next year, I think once they kind of figure out, another piece to add, I think they can really make a lot more noise next year. Kemba Walker, I'm not really big on. He has a lot of injury issues and stuff like that. And for him making the money that he's making, I just feel that he's kind of like the anchor of their team, and not in a good way. You know what I mean? Kind of holding them back a little bit. But
I like Kemba, but like you said, I feel like once they get a true third piece, they'll really take off.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like that superstar piece. It doesn't have to be like a James Harden or anything like that, because I think they definitely have enough scoring athleticism and shooting, just with those two guys alone. They just need another person, that a little injection of points when necessary, because sometimes guys have bad games and you need someone else to step up, and, they just need that third scorer that can just really, tear it up if necessary in certain situations.
You mentioned James Harden there, man. Like, speaking of him, man, what about these Nets and like their value? It's going through the roof. And I just heard a rumor that Blake Griffin, who's being bought out by the Pistons, may be heading there as well. And if that happens, oh my God, for card prices, like, oh my God, you're going to have 2/3 of Lob City as like the lesser half of their starting lineup.
Whenever they traded for Jarrett Allen to your Cavs, it left a big void in their center position. And DeAndre Jordan is a decent player. Definitely a serviceable guy to start in spots or maybe come off the bench. But to ask him to be a defensive anchor for them, because if you look at their team, they're not very defensive. I mean, James Harden, he's playing better defense than he did in Houston. It's almost like how he was playing in the bubble is how he's kind of playing. Kyrie has never been known as a defensive guy, more of a scorer. Same thing with KD, but they can turn it on here and there, especially in the playoffs. But if you had someone like Blake Griffin who can gives them a little bit of scoring. Definitely can be, a lob city threat, with James Harden, as he's been able to do with Clint Capella and these other guys. That could definitely add a little more noise for them moving forward into the playoffs. But you're definitely right about like James Harden and Kyrie and Durant prices. They're going through the roof right now. We're just looking at James Harden prices, and his PSA 9 selling at record prices. Like I think his cards across the board are up 400%, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm glad I made that trade when I did at that card show. It's looking better and better as time goes. So
absolutely, man. They're the favorite to come out of the East. Imagine they go to the championship. Like, look at what the Heat cards did. They didn't even win the finals. Like, all the value that came up on their stuff last year. Or even look at the Nuggets, man. They went to the Western Conference Final. Like, look at how much Jamal Murray and the Joker spiked during that time, and or even still spiking. So there's a lot of value that I think is going to be spiking around all of the Nets right now. Harden, KD, even Kyrie, Blake Griffin goes there. I think his stuff's going to start to go up a little bit. Not that Blake Griffin's a guy that a whole lot of people are running out wanting to invest heavily in, but I mean, he goes there and wins a championship. You know what I mean? I definitely think that's going to help his long-term legacy.
I mean, he's gotten pretty deep in the playoffs with the Clippers and things like that. But, ever since he's went to Detroit, he hasn't been able to get to the playoffs as far as I understand. And, he's kind of forgotten about. So bringing him back into relevance definitely spike his card prices. So if that does happen, I would definitely be on the market looking for a few pieces. Maybe not like huge dollar RPA, things, but definitely some autos or things like that just to add in there. That's for sure. Yeah, I mean, playoff time. That's basically what I'm gearing up for with the market being as low as it is. Just talking about different players and things like that, and getting short prints versus base. The base market has kind of crumbled for the most part, like with Prism and things like that. If you're able to get some short prints of some of these guys, I would definitely do it now, because the market is probably at one of its lowest points for modern as we ever seen. I mean, some guys are seeing great numbers, of course, but for the majority, like Zion's playing out of his mind, and his prices I think just are up like around 6%, for the last 30 days or whatever.
So, are there any players in your opinion that people should get out of? Any players or even like any players that you're personally getting out of, like not even that you're suggesting others to, but that you're like, yeah, I'm going to back off their stuff.
Well, I know some people had some De'Aaron Fox stuff with him being in Sacramento. I'm not really on the hype train with him. I mean, he's a good player, don't get me wrong, but it's more or less because of the teams that they're on. I think they're in last place or one of the last spots in their division, record-wise. So basically, more or less like guys that have no shot at the playoffs for the most part. Yeah. Those guys, you're not going to see those record numbers when the playoffs come around, because they're not going to make the playoffs. Their market's instantly going to die, and then it turns into basically the off season. As soon as the season's over. That's the main thing. If they don't have a chance at the playoffs, I'd probably sell some of those guys. I mean, unless you got them for really cheap and just rather hold on the next year and you think they're going to go into another team, then I would maybe hold on to them. Or a couple guys you've been trying to get out of.
I mean, the guys that I'm kind of trying to get out of are really just, some of the underperforming rookies. You know what I mean? Like guys that I've sent in for grading that really haven't done a whole lot. You know what I mean? Like Bol Mania. Bol Bol goes, wow. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to grade all of my short printed Bol Bols. You know what I mean? And then it's like Bol Bol's just like nosediving. You know what I mean? Not that Bol Bol's a bad player, and he still has potential, but you know what I mean? Like he's one that it hasn't really lived up to me grading a whole bunch of his short printed cards.
I think with Blake Griffin moving possibly to the Nets, we might even see Sekou cards finally, start to go up. I know a lot of his stuff went down like most modern stuff. That's
been another one of the ones that I've been like, dang, because I graded a ton of Sekou. But then again, like this Blake Griffin leaving opens up. The big question is how much playing time goes to Sekou, how much goes to Sadiq Bey, and how is that going to work out? You know what I mean? So that's going to really be the thing. Like if Sekou can really step in and get meaningful minutes, I could really see his market go up, because his market's as low as it's been. And I've graded so much Sekou. So yeah, that's a great call. Like between Sekou and Bol Bol, those are probably two of the, I don't want to say mistakes, but two of the bigger guys that I'm kind of moving off of that I had a lot of stuff invested in.
That's at least the one thing. Like, you got in on some of those guys, sent them in the PSA before basically the PSA price went up. So at least for the you're not in $25. You're only in say 15 or whatever. So it's a lot cheaper of a bullet to bite. And I think with PSA's prices going up, a lot of other companies, I think slabs across the board will go up as well. So it kind of, we'll be able to at least break even, make a few bucks on some of the ones that maybe we shouldn't have graded or won't grade moving forward until we see a little bit more success moving forward.
Yeah, I think moving forward though, man, like I don't even know that I would send a guy like Sekou or Bol into PSA. I think if I wanted to grade them, even their short prints, I would probably go to like an SGC or like a lower tier, just cheaper option. You know what I mean? Just because they're not the top line guys. I think PSA I literally might just reserve for like this Jazz, Zion, Luka, Trey tier of guys and their stuff. I mean, what do you think moving forward in this like current market?
I definitely won't be grading anybody like Bol or anything like that. It definitely would have to be more players that are more established moving forward, unless it's somebody or like say I would get like a LaMelo short print Prism or something like that. I'd probably send that in and possibly send it in Express or something like that versus bulk, just to get it back quicker to be the first to market possibly, or maybe move to a different company like SGC, like you're saying, like where they're grading a lot faster than PSA, say 3 months versus 6 to 8. I'd be one of the first kind of in the bulk market to come back with some stuff. So with PSA, and everyone else kind of changing prices, it's going to be interesting to see, how decisions go moving forward with grading different players.
The thing I was really encouraged with, like with getting like SGC, as we were talking about, with just how liquid their slab was, you know what I mean? Like I thought like it was going to be a little bit harder for me to personally move, for example, the SGC slabs than like a BGS or a PSA, but they've moved for me just as fast as the other two have, and just going from like, selling GMA slabs, which, do not move as fast as, some of the other ones. So I've been happy to see that as far as BGS moving in this, SGC moving in this current market.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of SGC, but, I definitely am picking up pieces here and there when prices seem super down for compared to a PSA price or whatever.
Exactly.
Definitely a lot of value out there, guys. If you aren't bought into a player and you kind of missed the jump with them, you could definitely pick up some players for a great price. Tatum's cards are a great price right now. Trey Young is at a great price. Even Luka's prices have cooled down some. Maybe not on his short prints, but his base. I've seen PSA 9s at $400. I haven't seen those prices down that much since basically right after we bought, and it went like 400 like instantly. The market is down on some guys. This is a great opportunity for you guys to buy in, and that's something I'm going to be doing more moving forward, is buying slabs versus raw, because I've been having a lot of issues buying raw cards off eBay and then getting them in, and then I look at them over, just like I do with all my group submissions and stuff. I look over my cards, of course, and then I see a lot of surface issues or bad corners and stuff like that. So just to save time and also get into players at a specific time, like especially right before the playoff, you want them cards slabbed because you want to be able to pounce on the market when possible, when you're instantly liquid versus, okay, now I have to send this Express, or I have to send this out Super Express, or walk-in fee, or whatever the case that they might be doing.
You figure even if you buy in on the player already graded, say PSA 10 or whatever you buy, the nice thing is, like, you're going to buy in. If you buy the right player, you're going to buy in at a low enough price that it's going to eventually go up. Like, for example, like whenever we bought our Lukas, we were in like the $100-some range. I think I paid $180 for mine. Boom, prices just jumped, So I think like if you're buying the right players at the right time, I remember Gary Vee saying when he first started buying his Luka Doncic PSA 10s, they were $35. Like, could you imagine that? Like, they're down right now at $1,300. Like, you know what I mean? Like, somebody bought that at $35 once, so like that's the advantage in buying, those graded cards, is that they're the first to go up in value. So you could say buy, a Luka right now, come playoff time, you could sell that Luka for close to double the amount you would pay right now. That's the advantage when you're buying graded to graded versus buying raw and then having to wait, X amount of time for that to come back, and then not even knowing if it's going to gem or not. Like Nate said, there is some value to just going ahead and picking up graded slabs.
When you buy a slab, like you said, you already know the grade. There was no risk. The only risk there is just basically, is this guy going to get injured? Is he going to get traded? You know, some stuff like that. And once you get to a certain point in the season, the trade issue kind of gets away because they have a trade deadline, and then you're just worrying about them staying healthy. And a lot of teams, you know, in this NBA, some of them are doing a little bit of, you know, where they won't play back-to-backs, and they're on like time management or whatever they call it. You know, they're getting ready for the playoffs. Like, I'm sure, you know, the Lakers are in a little bit of a funk right now because AD's not on the team and things like that. I'm sure LeBron's still going out there giving his all, but before the playoffs, I'm sure they'll get rested up and getting ready. I think we're gonna cut off here, guys. We definitely appreciate you guys checking out the video. Don't forget our Facebook group. It's to be down in the description. Also, links for Pittsburgh and Paul Gate City Picker. They are in our auctions every Sunday. Next Sunday, it will be on my channel, 4 p.m. Eastern. So definitely hope you come check it out and hang with us. Pittsburgh, anything you want to say before we cut off?
Come check out my channel. I put out daily sports card content, and I'd love to see you guys over there as well.
We'll also be doing our Saturday live show on Pittsburgh's channel, so link in the description for that as well. Come ask questions. Come hang out. You know, we like hearing what you guys have to say. We want to answer questions, and we just love talking cards, guys. So come on over, hang out with us, join the Facebook group, and we will see you guys later.
See you guys.